GCU Learn is the system that we use to help you with your studies. That's going to be the hub for all your online studies. So it's very prominently available to access from the student homepage. The link to the student homepage is www.gcu.ac.uk/student, but you can also find it printed on the back of your student card. Once you go there, you will see under top services, there is a link to GCU Learn. Simply click on that and it will ask you to log in if you're not already logged in, and you can access the system. Once you access the system, it's going to show you first the activity stream, which is going to list notifications from every module and every organization you're part of. There may be important ones like overdue due date, there may be events from the calendar, there may be notices that someone has been editing the information there, notifications of announcements or new documents uploaded. Lots of different ones, so it will vary, and the beginning of the trimester is the busiest time, so your stream may be really busy at the moment. On the left hand side you will see a navigation panel, so I'm just going to go quickly through the different options available there. The first one is the institution page, where you will find general information related to the university, like links to the library, links to the student homepage, assessment, feedback, turnaround, all sorts of general information that is useful, and you may find it's a really good idea to go through it and check it every now and then. The second tab is a link to your own account, where you can go and update your photo and change your notification settings. The activity stream we already saw, and it simply shows notifications about things that have changed in the system. The courses is the one that you're going to use most of all, and the courses will display the modules you're studying. It's called courses inside GCU Learn, but it's actually the modules you're studying. They may be listed in tiles like this, or they may be listed in links. It's entirely up to you. You can switch between one or the other. And also you can mark the ones that you want to see at the top as favorites just by clicking on the little star, which is available in both views. To access a particular module, you just click on the tile or the link to it, and it will take you to its page. And usually it opens on the announcements page, and in this case there's a big picture, so the announcements are a bit further down. And you will also see a panel on the left hand side. If your screen is small, the panel may be hidden. It may appear like this. If you don't see the navigation panel, just go to the side and look for that little tab and click on it, and it will open the navigation panel, and you can see everything your lecturers have designed for you to see. It may look different from module to module. This is just an example one, so there may be quite a few differences. The announcement, as I said, is usually the one that opens by default. You will probably have one called Module Overview, which generally contains the module handbook, which is an essential read. So please do check and see and read the module handbook. And any other general information about the module will probably be under this section. The module contacts will display who's teaching this module and their email addresses, and potentially even any office details or drop-in times, things like that. Any additional notes about their particular role in this module may also be in here. But contact is not a top priority information, so it may be empty at the beginning of the semester, but your lecturers will populate this at some point. And if you really need this information earlier, just let them know, and they will make sure it's all added as soon as possible. The learning resources is one of the ones you will always have, and in here usually you will find your lecture notes. However, they may be under a separate heading in the navigation. And also, if you find your lecture notes from here, they may be organized in different ways. Your lecturers decide how they're organized. In this particular case, it's organized in folders by weeks. It can be organized in folders by topics. It could be just a long list of documents and links. So if you see a folder like this, you just have to click to go inside, and you will see in this case, you can see there's PowerPoint slides you can download, and there's also links to video and actual embedded video for you to watch. You may also notice the little A with an arrow on the side on different types of documents being uploaded. And this is a way to download the uploaded material in a different format. So in this case, this is PPTX file, which is a PowerPoint document. But if you click on that, you will see an option to download it as an HTML file, a PDF file, or even as an audio document, an MP3 file for you to listen to rather than read. So it may be useful if you find any of the other formats are more suitable for you. Obviously, the options will depend on the type of file being uploaded. So do check that if you find the original format is not the best one for you. The other types of resources here, there's a podcast, basically an audio for you to listen. So your lecturers may decide to do that. There may be videos for you to watch. There may be interactive resources for you to do and to learn from. So lots of different things, and your lecturers will decide also when they're uploaded. They may be uploaded in the beginning of trimester for everybody to see from the beginning to the end, or they may be uploaded each week after the lectures. They may be uploaded each week before the lectures. Every lecturer will decide for themselves what's the best scenario based on their experience. The other type of space you probably will have is blogs and wikis, which typically contains, if you are asked to write a blog or contribute to a wiki, that's where typically you'll find it. However, it may be in a different place, or you may not have it at all, depending on if your lecturers actually decide that you don't need one. So this is a useful one to know and to keep an eye on. The assignment is the one that most of you will probably worry about, but it may be probably empty at the moment, simply because there's a lot of time still before the assignments are due. But if you have announcements due closer to the time, usually 2-3 weeks before that, the space for submission is going to open, and it usually looks like this. You have the assignment description and a link, view/complete. And also you will see this little icon that looks like a sheet of paper with a red arrow. If you see this, this means that this particular assignment is going to be submitted through Turnitin. Turnitin is a system that the university is using to help detect plagiarism. It doesn't detect plagiarism on its own. It simply creates a report to show all the bits of your work that are not original and where they're from and what percentage of your work is not original. And your lecturers will look at that report and they'll make a judgment if that is an appropriate use of other sources, maybe a common phrase that you've used that's been picked up, or there's actually something copied and not really referenced, and that will be then a plagiarism instance. If you want to learn more about plagiarism and how to avoid plagiarism and using sources appropriately, you can contact the your Learning Development Centre, see what materials they have, maybe a workshop that they're running. You can check with the library as well. They can help you with using proper references. And also the university has now bought a system called Cite Them Right, and you can find it through the library. So if you go to the library website and search with from Discover Cite Them Right, you will find it. And it contains lots of different examples and tutorials to show you what plagiarism is, what collusion is, and how to avoid those when you're writing your academic work. It's a really good idea to do this before you start writing. So this is something to bear in mind. Your submission of your coursework may also be organized in different ways. Your lecturers decide how they set it up. You may have just a one-off submission, so you submit your work and your lecturers receive the similarity report, and they can look at that and make a judgment, and you will receive your feedback and your mark, but you may not see the report itself. Or they can configure it so you receive the reports when you submit, and you can submit again up until a deadline. You have to bear in mind that there's a limit of how many submissions you make every 24 hours. I think currently is one submission every 24 hours. So whatever is submit it in the system the last 24 hours before your deadline, that's your final version of your work. And there is no way to guess if it's going to be multiple submissions and you will see the report, or is it one-off submissions. Your lecturers will tell you. So double check. If you're not told, ask. Don't assume you're going to see the report. If you're allowed to see the report, a few hours after submission, you will see a percentage and a color band appearing. You can click on them and see your report. The percentage shows how much of your work is non-original, but there is no really a safe number for you to say this is absolutely fine or this is not fine, because it depends on so many different parameters that putting a number on that is a bit meaningless. But the lecturers will look at the instances, so you may have a small percentage but one whole paragraph copied from somewhere without any reference, which is obviously plagiarism, and you may have a much higher percentage of properly sourced information, properly paraphrased, referenced, and also common phrases that will get the percentage higher, but there will be no plagiarism. So the percentage itself doesn't give an indicator of plagiarism, it just shows how much of your work is non-original. There was never going to be a case with 0%, because that means it's entirely original, not based on absolutely anything, and you've never used any common phrase. So that's in practice is impossible to achieve. The next section here that we have, and you probably have in your modules, is reading and links. If you click on that, generally it takes you to the relevant page from the library containing resources for your module. This is an example module, so it doesn't have that. It has a link to the library, and obviously it will vary from module to module for you as well. But generally, extra resources will be available in here. You may be asked to contribute to a discussion board, and if that's the case, there probably is a separate link to the discussion board in the navigation. And you will see it's organized in different forums. You may have already more than one or just one. A forum is just a general topic, a general space that this topic is going to be discussed. And within a forum, you can have multiple threads. A thread is like a conversation. So within the general topic of online sessions, you can have different threads about week 1 sessions, week 2 sessions, practical sessions or lectures, which are all under online sessions in this case. And to contribute to a discussion board, you just have to click on the thread first of all to see what's been published, and you have the option to read it and reply, and maybe even reply to the reply if there is one there. You will be given more instructions if that's the case, if they want you to engage with the discussion board, but it's generally relatively simple. The Collaborate Ultra is the tool being used to attend online classes. So if you are scheduled to attend a lecture, for example, on a module, and there's no link available inside your timetable to attend, you may be wondering, how do I do that? Just go inside GCU Learn, go into that module and go to the Collaborate Ultra section. For that particular date and time, there would be a link here to join that particular session and attend online. It's very simple, very intuitive environment. You will be given more instructions closer to the time if you've not had any experience with that, but that's how you attend your online classes. If you're part of a group, your group options will be available under all the other navigations within your module. And in this case, this sample student here has a group organized and is part of group 1. So once you go here and open the options, you will see there's lots of different spaces for the group to engage. They have their own discussion board, they can exchange files. So the lecturers will decide if groups are needed and also what options are available. So this may vary, but it means that whatever is available under this group, only members of this group and the lecturing staff will be able to access, none of the others from the module itself. So that's a very quick overview of what a module will look like. As I said, there will be variations between different modules, so you will have more or less options. It may be very sparsely populated at the beginning of the semester and can get very busy by the end, so it will vary. You just need to keep checking. If I close this, and organizations is in structure very similar to the courses, but organizations are not really your modules you're studying. It could be simply a space or organized for a particular society or for a particular club or particular topic that you are interested in. It may be empty, or you may already be attached to one, or you may want to join one. So you can search through the organization catalog for anything that you are interested in, and you will see what the options are, what's currently available, how you can join. So all of this will be available. But in terms of the content, it has it's not study related, but the structure and the way it looks is exactly the same as the courses. So you have navigation on the site and content. So there, I'm just going to click on one, and you will see this assignment option, although there's no actual assignment in there, and contact information announcement. So as you can see, similar idea to the modules, but it's not module related. The calendar option is quite useful, and it is a separate calendar from every other calendar you have access to. And you can add events to this calendar by just clicking on the plus at the top. And as you can see, I've added one here to attend a webinar starting today. But you also will find any due dates you have available in this calendar. So if I look further down in November, you can see there's 2 assignments due. This information is available within this calendar, so it's a good idea to have a look. It gives you an overview from all the different modules you're attached to. So to find more, you just click on it, and there's the information. So it's assignment 1. The due date is on 16th of November in this case. It's at 17, so 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's the module itself. So useful to have. You also could feed this calendar into another calendar, just clicking on the calendar settings and then the 3 dots here. You have the option to share the calendar using this link. So you just copy that link, go to your calendar application and add this calendar to whatever calendar app you're using, or it could be your student calendar as well. The messages are quite useful, because initially you wouldn't know anybody else's email address, but if you're studying the same module, you can go to the module itself and click on the plus, and it will open a space for you to type in a message, and also an option to add recipients to this message. So you don't need to know their email addresses, you just select them from the list of everybody who's attached to this particular module or organization, and you can put the subject and a topic. If you have new messages, it's going to appear with the red dot here, and it will show under the module or the organization, it will show you that you have a new message. So you just can click on that and read the message. This is independent from your student email. This is a way to receive and send messages within the program, within the module or the organization that you are attached to. On the marks, you will see your marks when they're ready. The assist option is quite useful, and you will see lots of different tiles here with useful other resources for you to access. So as you can see, quite extensive, and more are added, and additional ones will be featured here. So you can go and explore it whenever you need. The tools section will contain an option to access the portfolio. So if you're asked to keep a portfolio, this is the tool that is going to be used for that. So that's a whistle-stop tour of a GCU Learn, and as I said, it's going to vary for everybody, so you need to go and explore your own, and you have to remember that this is dynamic system, so new things will be added, things will change constantly. So this is going to be your study help, and the way to access your study materials and to communicate with your lecturers and find more information from the lecturers for the particular modules. I hope you found it useful.